Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're taking a look at a Master Grade kit from Gundam 00. This is the original GNX, or as some people call it Jinx. I always just call it GNX, but whatever you call it, it is a really interesting design. It looks like a really cool kit. I've heard that it has some issues, but I don't think it's gonna be really that big of a deal. I have a lot of confidence that this kit is going to be very fun, very cool, and I guess we'll find out in a matter of a few minutes. So let me go ahead and get to the unboxing. So right here on the front of the box, we've got a very cool action pose there with a number of GNXs flying along. And one thing you'll notice here is that you got two different beam rifle options for this, and both of those are included, so you can make it either as the shorter type or the longer type rifle, which is very cool. I always love this longer type design, so that's what I'll be going with mine. But some cool box art there, and a reminder down here that this kit came out all the way back in 2010 for the list price of 3,600 yen, so very affordable Master Grade. Taking a look at the ends of the box, just basically got the same thing there. If we go over here onto this side, here's a look at some of the inner frame detail there, some of the articulation gimmicks of the head, body, the legs, the ankles. That's what I've heard has been a difficult point with this kit, is that it has trouble standing because of the ankles. So that's what I'll be looking out for in the review. You got the cockpit block, figures there, and not a whole lot of English here on the box. Obviously this came out before they started implementing more English on the boxes and in the manuals. Got a display base there for the GN drive, and obviously that'll take some LED. I think you can probably put two LEDs into that. I don't think I have any LEDs at the moment that I can use with this, unfortunately. On the other side here we got some action poses, and yes, it looks very cool. Some more gimmicks about the GN claw hands. It has really cool hand designs as well. Knee band, binder, all that good stuff. Here's a picture of how it looks exactly straight up out of the box. It looks pretty cool. It's basically white and gray, so I mean, it's not the most colorful design, but like I said, I've always thought that it's a pretty cool design as far as grunts go. So got a whole bunch of stuff in here. Let's go ahead and make our way to the manual, which here on the front just has this old style Master Grade design work here for the manual, which I've not seen in a while. On the back side, here's a big nice reference image for you to see that in its fully painted form. Looks great. Opening it up to the front inside page here, a bunch of information about the GNX, all there in Japanese, and some nice line art here for you. I was just gonna say, I'm sure all this information is already on the wiki page if you're interested in like knowing more about the mobile suit. But that line art is going to be nice if you want to scan that into your computer, test out some color schemes and all that. The GN Drive T there, so there's some nice illustration work and information about that. Then we just got our parts list and construction until we get to the center pages where we get some more information here. Fights on, got some information showing them facing off against an Exia. Mechanism and weapons guide over here, some more illustration work of the body and the arms there, it looks like. We've got our painting guide over here on this side for the actual mobile suit itself, and then for the pilot figure. And then fast forward to the last page, we've just got our decal guide there, so that is where you're going to be able to place all the decals around on the kit. And with that, let's go ahead and check out the runners. So first up, we do have a few foil stickers here for this, basically just for the eyes and little camera bits, so nothing too serious. We then have some marking sticker decals here. Those are in mostly white and dark gray. And some dry transfer decals with a lot of options there for you. So depending on which unit number you want to have for this, there's some rank markings over here and all that. So if you like dry transfer decals, you got some of those here in white and gray as well. I personally prefer water slides, but it's better than nothing. We've got runner SB1 for some clear pink beam saber effect parts, and runner PC130 for some polycaps here in dark gray. Runner A here is a nice big 4-color runner with some clear purple, some medium gray, a lighter gray, and off-white over there on the side. Runner B here is some more parts in white. Runner C is some more parts in that lighter gray color, and the same thing here for runner D. Those all look very nice. And then we're getting into the frame parts, which are in this dark gray ABS plastic. So runner E and runner H are all dark gray ABS plastic parts for the frame. That continues on here to runner I as well, actually, this big runner here. But then finally runner J is back to some more weapons parts and stuff in just a regular polystyrene plastic in just kind of medium gray color. So there you go. That is quite a bit of ABS plastic in there, which is, I guess, a sign of the time when this came out around 2010, 11 years now at this point. So let me go ahead and get this all put together and we'll see how it looks. Alright guys, so here's the kit all built up, and it is a very cool design. The kit looks great. Not a ton of surface detail, but there's some here and there. There's definitely some wide open areas where you could go in and add some more detail. But I think overall it's a really cool, unique looking design. That said, now after I've built it, I can see what some of you guys were talking about with the kit being a little bit kind of iffy here and there in a couple spots that may be kind of a little bit loose, that might need a little bit of tightening up or something just to kind of make them less annoying when you're trying to pose the kit. We'll go over all that here in just a second, but first let's just take a look at its accessories. And first of all, let me just show you guys the cockpit, which just like the Turn A is an actual cockpit. It opens up like that, so that folds down and then that folds up, and then there's your pilot figure in there. And the reason that I show you is because you do have two options for the pilot figure. Now the seated one, not really going to be all that noticeable, the difference between the two of those. But for your standing pilot figures there, obviously you can tell one is female, one is a male pilot figure characters from the anime, and as you can see I haven't cleaned up the nub marks on those, but they are nice detailed, and it's cool to have options. And we'll go through some more of this stuff once we get into the articulation, but as I'm just putting the cockpit back in place, one thing that is quite annoying is that the cockpit hatch doesn't want to stay open. So I took this apart and put it back together a couple times now, and just no matter what, trying to keep that closed. It's just like, see, the harder I press it, oh, there it goes, it's stuck, don't breathe on it. I'm sure it's just a matter of time before that pops open again. But anyway, here is the shield that just will attach onto the arm over here. You can attach it onto the left to the right, and the actual shield mount piece can be rotated around. And then the kind of blade part of the shield, you can pull this out a little bit, and then you can rotate that. So you can have this rotated in any particular way that you might like. You do have an action base connector and this base piece for your GN drive if you want to have that out and displayed separately. With our beam saber effect parts, the beam saber handles will actually fit onto the kit. I've just got one on there, but just so I can show you where these go on here. So this folds down, and right behind that thigh armor piece is the peg where you can plug this beam saber handle into there like that, and then fold that back up, and that's where it's stored in there, which is pretty cool to be able to pop that down and then have that right there like that. It's interesting. Then we've got our rifle. So here is the basic form of that. There is a clear purple part up in there. It's going to be pretty hard to see just because it's kind of far deep inside of there, and the front handle will move side to side. The main handle will move a little bit forward and back, but not really all that much. This just plugs into the forearm here for added support. And if you want to make the long type, we have the attachment piece for that, so pretty easy. You just fold the handle to the side, this just slots into place, and then you have an extra camera attachment bit that you'll plug onto the top of there. Now there is a clear purple part to go inside of there, one in that camera there, and then one in the end here. I have those clear purple parts here. I haven't put them in yet because they're the type that, like, once you put them in, they're kind of hard to get out, so I have not put those in quite yet, but just know that there are clear effect parts to go in there, which do look very nice. And I love the long rifle design on this one, very cool. Now to get into the articulation, you guys have already seen one of the problems, that these side parts here tend to fall off kind of easily. They're attached there on a ball joint, but if you kind of touch it the wrong way, it tends to fall off. For the head, you have a clear purple part for the eyes, but then you kind of cover that up with a sticker. You could opt not to do that if you want, and you still have a clear purple part there. For the head, that's a clear purple part with some metallic purple stickers that go underneath that, which do help to make it look nice and shiny. So that does look really cool. That clear purple part there on the head looks great. The Vulcans on the head, unfortunately, are not molded in a different color, so you're definitely going to want to just put a little bit of paint on those just to kind of bring out the detail of those little Vulcans there on the head. The head will go up to about there, which is the extent of that, and then down to there, which works pretty well, and then turns like that. It's kind of interesting. It's like attached at like the back of the neck, so it looks a bit weird when you see it from like a weird angle. Kind of got like a weird hunchback sort of look to it or something like that. But anyway, it is a really cool head design. I like that quite a bit. These parts here on the front also can move around. You can kind of change the angle of those, turn them in, turn them out, change the angle. These ones also, they're kind of hard to line up, and this one especially, I don't know why, just kind of one on this side doesn't want to stay in place as well as the other one. This part here for like the side of the chest is just kind of loose and just kind of floating there, so that like when you move the arm forward and back, that just kind of moves along with that. So the shoulder joint will move to the front there, to the back like that. You can only bring the arm up to not even 90 degrees, which is pretty abysmal for a master grade, like upward movement there of the arm. But I mean, like, because of the design, it is kind of understandable. I think they could have made this kind of middle piece there in a different way that would allow for more upward articulation, but upward articulation is going to be pretty limited, aside from just like rotating the arm up like that. But then the arm is going to rotate here at the top. You got a nice double joint here for the elbow, giving you a full bend there. And the fingers are separated like 3 in one hand, so like the thumb is on a ball joint, the first finger is separate, and then the second, third, and fourth fingers are molded together, but you could cut them apart for individual articulation if you wanted. I'm just going to keep them like that, and as you can see on the inside there's a little tab which will plug into either the rifle handle or the beam saber handles, whatever you have in hand. Now we do have some pretty good ab crunch here, back and forward. There like that, and that clear purple part is going to be pretty much invisible up inside there for the GN drive. Going here to the back, you can pull this out, and I don't have any LED to go inside of here at the moment to show you guys, unfortunately, but this is kind of where you could put 2 LEDs in here, one facing the front, which will light up the chest, one facing the back, which will light up the back, which will look really nice, especially when you extend this out. So you extend that out and these kind of pop out a little bit more, and then more of this clear purple will be exposed there at the back, so that would light up very nicely. So that just goes into place, and then you close that up and those kind of tighten down, and then that's kind of like locked into place in the back, which is pretty cool. You saw what the front skirt does, and now both of these big pieces have fallen off for the time being, which is fine. But now let's take a look at the back skirt. The whole back skirt will move up and down a little bit. This kind of part down here will open up like that as well. The sides are on ball joints, so you can move those around, and these can also spread out here from the back there like that. The hips are on a sliding joint, which will be able to rotate down, which will give you better articulation up to the front. So ultimately you can bring the legs up pretty far, which is nice. Good bend in the knee. Let me go ahead and take the leg off of the kit just so you guys can see this a little bit nicer, because it's pretty cool. This flap here on the back kind of moves out of the way as you're bending the knee, which is quite tight, so I advise you guys to be kind of careful with that. But there you go, that is the nice full bend of that. And this front thigh armor, which we saw before, can move to be able to get to the beam saber handle. You can kind of move that down if you want or whatever, but down here at the ankles, this front piece will move up and down. This back piece will also move up and down a little bit. This back toe kind of bit will move up and down. The front toe will move, I guess like the toe, like this back bit. Anyway, those move separately, and the whole kind of front and back half of the foot move a little bit separately like that up underneath the feet. There's how that detail is going to look. And then the ankle, of course, will move side to side, forward and back, all pretty nicely, but it is going to be a weak point of the kit. I've already noticed with the kit standing, it does tend to kind of lean on the ankles a little bit. So maybe put a little glue or paint or whatever you want to do in there to just tighten up the ankle joint a little bit, just to make sure that it's not falling over on you. And for a quick size comparison, there it is with the Exia Repair 3. So as you can see, it's pretty standard 100 scale master grade size, maybe a little bit taller because of those fins sticking up the top, but head height, it's pretty standard. Alright guys, as we're wrapping up the review, taking a look at some action poses here, there was that limited point of articulation with the upward movement of the shoulder that was pretty disappointing, but overall the articulation is pretty nice on this one, so you should be able to do pretty much any pose you might want to, but you are going to have some things just kind of falling off along the way. The side skirts, the back skirts. The hands actually don't hold the beam saber handles all that well, even though there's that tab that plugs into them. I still find that it just kind of pops out kind of easily. But with the rifle, obviously there's no problem because it plugs onto the forearm, so no issues with the stability of that anyway. And having this up on an action base is going to give you so many more posing options, and especially for this design, I think it just looks so much better up on an action base. But if you do want to keep it on the ground, I think those ankles are going to be a little bit of an issue for you, but again, I would just recommend just tightening up those joints in the ankles, and that shouldn't be too much of a problem. So overall, I wouldn't say the kit is amazing, but it's perfectly fine for what it is. If you're a fan of the design, then I think you're probably going to be willing to look past some of the looseness or some of the small issues that the kit has, and you should be able to enjoy it just fine. It is really cool and unique design. I think Bandai did a pretty good job on this kit. So let me know your guys' thoughts down on the comment section below. If you have this kit or any of its variants, what's your experience been like with the kit? And as always guys, big thank you to USA Gundam Store for making this review possible. Check out all the different master grades and everything there that we've got in stock at USA Gundam Store. The link and coupon code will be down in the video description below. So thank you all so much for your support, liking the video, commenting, subscribing, all that's greatly appreciated as well. Until next time, hope you're all having a great day. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.